All right, guys. Hope y'all are doing well. I put this off, letting perfect be the enemy of good, but I'm just going to jump right in and roll a couple innings of box seat baseball. Easy play version. Today I'm going to be doing the 1956 Cleveland Indians visiting the 1956 Detroit Tigers. We're going to have Herb Score on the mound against Billy Heft. And I apologize ahead of time. The camera work's not going to be great. Never really rolled a game while I am filming. So I'm going to flip the camera around. I'll show you our setup here. I have my flip cards over here. I use 2 decks. And you'll see I'm going to change these out at the halfway point in the game. I've always kept the game abbreviations chart right here. I don't really need it anymore, but just out of habit I keep it there. This is a range play description. It's an extra chart I have. I just keep it up there so I can refer to it. Cuts down on my chart flipping. My charts are also right here, and I've got the wild play charts, the bunt charts. The rules are down there as well in case I need to refer to them. Here is our ballpark card. As you can see, Tiger Stadium, and the diagram. These are specific to 1956 and 1962. Tom did the ballpark diagrams. Pretty cool. You can see it talks about the dark line inside the right field line represents where the second deck overhangs. And that -1 there is a ballpark peculiarity. Turns into a triple to deep right center if we're using the park effects on fielding, which I do. I've got my dice over here with my dice roller. My ballpark that I roll in is out of commission. We had to move, and it took some damage. Still got to get that fixed. Here's the big die that comes with the game. It doesn't fit through my dice roller, so it's just going to sit there for now, and I'm going to be using this one right here. I've got the visiting dugout, home dugout here. Got the cards here set up, and like I mentioned, Billy Heft for the Tigers, Herb Score for the Tribe. As you can see, they both have pretty good cards, but Herb Scores is a very special card. Here's my score sheet. I've already rolled for the weather. We've got a brisk, breezy day. Winds coming in at 19 miles an hour over the right field overhang there. So that really knocks down fly balls. In the area right here, I have gone ahead and written down the new park effects. So it's +2 to left, -3 to center, -1 to right. As you can see, I've just adjusted for the wind in right field, which knocks it down by 3. Temperature is 75 degrees, so both Score and Heft are going to get a little bit of a bump. See here, Score is what I write down as a 25A. He gets a +2 to his level 2 fatigue. I write the A down. That's just so I know for the good stuff. He's in the A category. It's my own thing. And Heft is a 26B. All right, I've got my pencil here. Lineups are made out, and let's see how this goes. Okay, so Billy Heft going to face Jim Busby first. Grab the dice here. I always roll the dice first, the die 10, to see if there's an error. It's just my own thing, so I don't forget it. So a 2, no error. We need a 0 for possible error. So we roll the dice here. We get a 54. Read these white and black. So 5, 4, and 0. So let's come down to the 5, 4. It's an SN2. So possible single. He's an 8.0 because he's facing a lefty. So come over here. We're going to flip. Look at 8.0. So this is a scoring position -3. This nobody in scoring position. So this is just a hit automatically. So we go to the SN2. It's a single. So think of it as a line drive single. It says average. That's just right at the left fielder. So Jim Busby's lit off the game with a single. If you see how it has the 1 next to the advancement, if there had been a runner on first, we'd use this line. Runners on second and first, for runner in score position, we'd use that line. But they're not, so Busby's going to go ahead and he'll take first. Now, we do a quick stolen base check here, see if he steals. Go ahead and write down his single before I forget. Okay. So Busby's frequency for going is a -1. Heft's allowance, he allows it's an average rating 0. So I would need to see a -1 That's the minimum for stealing. So a -2 or a -1. So I'm going to look over here and voila, I see a -1 for the stolen base attempt. So what that means is Jim Busby's going to go ahead and try and steal a base. So what we do here then is we're going to look at the Tigers catcher and figure out what his arm rating is. So Red Wilson here is a B arm right there, and that means he is a -1. He's above average. So we're going to take that combined with this rate right here, which is -2. So -3 overall, and then we're going to take that and make it half of that. So -1.5 to Jim Busby stolen base rate. So 1 minus 1.5, so minus half. So we would look on the stolen base chart right here. We're playing a classic season, so we're going to be rolling right here. Minus half, 16 to 43 is what he needs for the stolen base attempt. We roll a 53. Oh, he would be out, but the die roll is a 0. So this is a possible throwing error on the stolen base attempt. So we look over here at the steal, and we see that there's a 4. So that is the minimum air rating that is required to not throw the ball away. We see that Wilson is a 10. So it's a good throw down, and Jim Busby is caught stealing to start the game after his single. So Bobby Avila is a righty, so it's going to go caught stealing 2, 4. Okay, so 1 batter down, 1 away. All right, so let's go roll the dice again. It's a 1, so no possible error on the ball in play. So say 34. We go here and look at 34. That is a walk. There's no qualifier there, so Heft doesn't block this unless he was an extreme walk pitcher, which means he would have all these columns filled up and then an EWR across the top, which means he'd have a chance to block it, but he doesn't, so it's a walk. So Bobby Avila has drawn a walk, and there is a runner on first with 1 out. We need to do a flip to see if about a stolen base, and we'll look at this. We've got a 0 and a 0 and a 0. So this is interesting. The the Tribes come out wanting to run on the Tigers today. So we know that it's a -1.5, and he was a 0. So we're gonna say -1.5. We'll roll the dice, and it's a 16 with a 2, no possible error. So we're gonna look at the chart for the -1.5, and he's in there safely. So Bobby Avila has swiped second base. Okay. Now, since there's 1 out and he's on second, we're going to flip another one and see about his chances of going for third. You look at the card here, and it says in parentheses, that is the steal of third. So it says not applicable, so he's not going to go to third. So we have, or attempt to go to third. So we have 1 out. Bobby Avila is on second. And Al Rosen's at the plate. Let's do our no error check on this one. So we get 52 and 1. So 52. That's a K -3. So we look at the K -3 on the right-hand side. It's blank, so it's a strikeout. And the die is a 1. So it's a strikeout swinging. So Al Rosen goes down swinging, 2 outs. And Vic Wertz is now the Cleveland Hope to bring in a run. Okay, so let's do an air check. Ooh, 0. So that means if the ball's put in play, we'll check for an error. And now we get an 11 and a 3. All right, so it's an 11, K0. He's a lefty. Bats left versus left. That's a blank. And the die is a 3. So in this case, he blew it by him. So the Indians do not put up a run in the first inning. For figuring up our fatigue here, it's very simple in this case because Heft faced 4 batters. So we just take off 1 less than he faced here. So Heft is a 26. So at the end of the first inning, he's down to 23. Okay? And we'll clean this up a bit. Busby Rosen, and Wirtz. Put them back in there. And now we're on to the bottom of the first. Again, apologize for this camera work. I know it's probably vertigo-inducing. All right, so Herb score against Harvey Kuenn. We'll do our error check here. It's a 9, so not a possible error for play. So we'll say 51 and 1. Again, we're lefty here. So SN2, possible single. He's an 11 versus lefties. So we just come over here, flip it, and we have a -3. Now this is a tough check because -3 is one that most pitchers are not going to block. But let me tell you, Herb scores a pitcher. He's got hit blocks all the way up versus right-handers. So that LO2 means it's a line-out 2. So the single was converted to a line-out 2, which we look over on the flip card here. We see line-out 2 is to the shortstop. So Kuenn lines out to the shortstop. 1 away. All right, next up is Jack Phillips, first baseman for the Tigers. We'll do an error check here. It was a 3, so no possible error. On ball and play, 45 and 9. So let's go down here and hit 45 versus left, walk 0. He bats right, so we'll go up here and score. If he has a weakness, he's probably below average in allowing walks, and he allows this walk. He doesn't block this one. So Phillips is going to walk. All right, so he's a -2 for stealing. Scores a 0, so we'll need to flip because -2 is about as low as it can go. We see that it's a +6. He's not even close to going. So 1 out, runner on first, and we'll roll the die. It is a 6, no error check. All right, so we go 45 and 8. All right, Charlie Maxwell's a 45, K -2. As you see here, scores all blank on his strikeouts. That means he's going to get a lot of strikeouts and even to convert some walks and hits to strikeouts. So in this case, he has struck out Charlie Maxwell. That 8, 7, 8, 9 on the die means it's a strikeout looking. So he fooled him with a pretty wicked curveball. So we put a backwards K. And there are 2 down. So young Al Kaline's at the plate. We got a future Hall of Famer, although he's 20 years old in 1956, coming off of a great campaign in 55 where he won a batting title. He's pretty good this year, though, too. So we'll go ahead and roll our air die. And no possible error there. So let's line these up. 65 with a 7. So 65, that's a HG2. This stands for a hard ground out 2. So what we're going to do is flip a card. Look right at hard ground out 2. So you see it's hit the second baseman. That 2C would mean if there's a runner on second, we were talking less than 2 outs. Runner on second with a base running of C and above would advance to third. A C- would have held. In this case, we just know it's a ground out to first. If there had been an asterisk, it'd be a force at second. But in this case, the second baseman just fields Bobby Avila and fires to first for a 4-3 ground out. All right, so that ends the inning. And as we see, same thing as for have score face 4 hitters, we take away 3, so we're looking at 22. This is new fatigue. 0 runs for the Tigers. And we go to the second inning. Go ahead and clean things up here. Again, apologize for the camera work, guys. Just letting good or okay or passable be what we're doing instead of perfect. Okay, so Billy Heft facing Al Smith, left fielder for the Indians this day. Check that air die is not an error. So 62 versus left. So what we see here is a LO1, so line out 1. If you notice, it says SPH here. That means if there have been runners in scoring position, runner on second, second and third, or runner on third, Smith would actually get a hit, an auto hit, and we do that off the chart. But in this case, it's a line out 1. So we're going to flip it, and we see that he scalds 1, but right at Frank Bowling at second for an L4. So 1 down for the Tribe. And here's one of my favorite players, Rocky Colavito. I've always had a weak spot for power hitting right fielders with big arms. So here he is against Billy Heft. let's see, we get a 0, so possible error if the ball's in play. And we roll a 31 with a 5, so we go 31. That's an SN1, so possible single. He is a 10 hit rating. So we turn it over, and we see that it is a scoring position check, and since there's no runners in scoring position, the batter always wins this. It's a single. So we look here, it's a SN1, so it's a single to left field, and the AA means it's angling away. So imagine a ball that's hit that the left fielder kind of has to turn and go get, maybe in the gap or down the line. Holds him to a single, but he's running away from the infield. And what you'll see is a lot of times on this type of hit, runners get to advance. There's no runners on, but just one of the cool things I like about Box Seat is all of these hits have descriptions, and those descriptions tie into the advancement. But let's not forget we also had an error check. So we're going to go over here and say hit 0. So the minimum error rating to not commit an error on this hit would be 0, which that means that an error is not going to happen. So in this case, Colavito has hit a single to left that puts him at first base with 1 out. Now we also need to check for a base stealing attempt. He's a -2. We look over here and see the +3. So there's no steal attempt. Rock's not going anywhere. All right, so 1 out, runner on first. Let's do an error check. No error check die. And then we'll roll our dice here. So we get 13 with a 3. So let's go over here. That's a K -2. We look at the -2 section of Hef's card. That's a strikeout. And since it's a 3, it's a strikeout swinging. So this will just be a normal K. Okay? So Chico Carrasco is down. All right, Jim Hegan. Very good backstop for the Indians. He'll be at the plate here with 2 outs. Colavito on first. We'll do the air check. It's a 6, so no error possible. 65 with a 5, so we go 65. So this is a walk with a qualifier of 0. So what we're going to do is look at the 0 versus right on Hef's card, and we see an NF2. This is a normal fly ball, and we're going to flip it over and see on the 2, it's a normal fly ball to center field. Since there's 2 outs, we don't have to worry about any type of base runner advancement, but those codes will give you the base runner advancement.